be clear, the president wants a full up or down vote on the whole bill.
Yes.
When the president announced this before a joint session several weeks ago, and he has on the road talked about the urgency of the situation, why now then, just today, did he say that he's going to call the leadership in Congress?
I understand that there's a, we can go back and forth here, that this is all about leadership negotiations, which I think the American people understand full well are not necessarily the way to get things done quickly and effectively in Washington, especially if there's not a desire on both sides to get them done in a way that's productive and functional for the American people. So what we have been doing, what the president has been doing, is taking his message out to the American people, the people who hired their legislators and sent them to Washington to get things done. And we're being very, very transparent about our strategy, if you will, which is to have Americans lift their voices and join the president in asking Congress, asking Washington to act on a very simple priority. Act on the economy, act on jobs. That's what Americans want their leaders in Washington to do. Here's a proposal to do just that. Here's a proposal that outside economists have judged very clearly would boost economic growth and would lead to greater job creation. Let's act on it. Let's do it. It's not a matter of making phone calls in private to congressional leaders. It's very clear what the elements of the package are. And as I was saying to Jake, Congress can take it up, act, vote on it. If then there is a desire to separate it out and act on component parts of it, portions of it, but not all of it at once, we would accept that, although we would not be satisfied by it. That would not be sufficient. And the president would make that clear if a portion of it came up and he signed it into law. The next thing he would say is, where's the rest of it? What about teachers and construction workers? What about small businesses who could use that incentive to hire more people or increase their wages? Or the incentive to hire veterans who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with tremendous skills and experience, but aren't getting jobs. He'll just keep pushing and making the case. And yes, we are making an outside case here.
When the president put his health care reform bill before Congress, did he just send it up there, or did he personally lobby members of Congress to get it done?
Well, I don't think we need to revisit in great detail that period, except that I wasn't at this podium during that period. I was working for the vice president, but I think every legislative approach doesn't have to be the same. And I'm not even, I'm not making a comparison here. That was obviously quite a different kinds of thing. One of the beauties of the American Jobs Act is its simplicity. It is not a complicated piece of legislation. It has very clear sections and portions, very clear what it does and who benefits and how it will help the economy, and very clear measures to pay for it. Congress can debate it, act on it, and we can move forward. That's what the American people want. What they don't want is posturing and say, well, nobody's called me, or we haven't had a meeting yet, so we're just not going to do anything. I don't think Americans at home in these states and districts are going to be like, oh, well, that's a good reason not to take action.
As was referenced, the Republicans several weeks ago outlined areas of compromise. Is the president talking or listening to Republicans, or is he just interested in appealing to the public instead?
I think I answered this question both a couple of times already today and numerous times in the past, that the president has relations with leaders of both parties in both houses on Capitol Hill. He has conversations with them on a regular basis, and looks forward to having conversations with Senator McConnell, Speaker Boehner, Leader Pelosi, and Leader Reid in the future on the American Jobs Act. And I think that he's doing both. And there's a lot of cynicism here, like somehow going out to the American people and saying, here's what I'm doing, here's what we need to do. If you agree with me, raise your voices, let your members of Congress know that that's somehow objectionable or political. I think that's how the system should work. And the president is doing that, and obviously he will work with Congress and congressional leaders as well to get these measures passed, because there is no higher priority for the people.